Hi, everybody. Welcome to Life Stories Podcast for the Love of Books. I'm Shara Goswick, your host. My guest today is Kurt Busch. Kurt is the co-author of Live Fully, Lead Authentically. This is not a typical leadership book. This is all about self-reflection and getting to the best version of yourself so that you can lead authentically. I absolutely loved this book. I think I needed it for this time in my life because there's so many good nuggets in there that really stood out to me. You're going to love this conversation. I really encourage you to get the book. I think it's helpful to anybody, even if you don't feel like you're in a leadership position. There's just a lot of really great things in this book that would be helpful to you. Thanks for being here. I loved your book,
Thanks.
Live Fully, Lead Authentically, and it was not what I thought it was going to be. I just assumed, I've read some leadership books, and they're all great, and they all, even if I'm not leading anybody at the moment or a group, they're all helpful. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I expected. But yours was like way more self-reflection and looking at me rather than, which was so good. I took lots of notes.
Well, thank you.
Lots of notes. So first, tell me about your book. Tell me why you wrote it, why you ever wanted to do that, and why it was important to you.
Yeah, so my co-author Chris and I,
Mhm.
we just number one, we really like writing. So that's a factor. We just
Yeah.
enjoy writing. So we've written all throughout our careers in different ways. Chris is actually an old newspaper journalist.
Oh, wow.
So he's got some writing in his past. I have some writing in mine, and we just hadn't been writing as much as we once have. So we decided let's do some writing, and really what we wanted to do was capture our coaching philosophy.
Mhm.
We really wanted to capture the way that we work with people, with leaders, with groups. Um, we believe really deeply in it, and we wanted the world to have it.
That's awesome. So you talk a lot in this book and you give several examples of people, but you talk about protective promises. I have been through a lot of classes and counseling and different things ministry wise, and they call them inner vows, but it's the same thing. Tell
Yes.
everybody what a protective promise is.
Yes, a protective promise is a promise that we make to a younger version of ourself in our first formation. There's a lot of argument over what first formation is and how long that is. We would say elementary to high school age.
Yeah.
That usually, well, not usually, that all of us have encounters in that time that either hurt or embarrass us or even like are really affirming for us and give us a lot of attention and love and affection. And we learn in those moments how to either feel that again or not feel that again.
Yeah.
So then we make a protective promise that we subconsciously say to ourselves, I am never going to feel that way again, or I'm never going to be without that feeling again. And
Yeah.
that's the promise we make to ourselves.
I was going to ask if you thought it was subconscious or something that we actually say, because as I was reading, I've been through a lot of healing stuff, and there are still things that affect me. And I
Hmm.
thought, I probably did this and didn't realize that I did this because there's still a
Yeah.
certain area of my life that is affected. And, but I don't ever remember saying those words,
Yeah.
but we do that, we think it. And that's
Yeah.
just as detrimental than, us saying it.
Yeah. I think there might be times. I mean, I can think of times in my first formation. I've just done a lot of this work, so I can think of a
Right.
time where I would have said, "I'm never going to let that happen again."
Right.
Uh, but I think there are way more times that our nervous system is doing it,
Mhm.
that our autonomic nervous system has this experience and just knows to protect us, right?
Right.
um, we're really good at protecting ourselves. That
Yeah.
is one of the benefits of being a human is our
Yeah.
systems know how to keep us safe. The problem is that once they learn how to keep us safe, our systems just do that
Right.
indefinitely.
Yeah. And one of the things you said was, gosh, lots of good nuggets in this book, but you said that a lot of times these promises become like a second job. Like we
Hmm.
work to make sure. That is so true. That is so true.
Yeah,
We work very hard. I've done that. I know I've done that.
yeah,
So that just was really eye opening for me. One of the things you talked about, you said that courage, grit, and honesty were necessary. We needed all three of those to show up. How does that look in somebody's life to do that authentically?
Yeah, that's a good question. I actually had someone just text me about the concept of grit just the other day.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm glad that you brought this up because I feel like there might be a little misunderstanding in how
Yeah.
the word grit gets used. I think the reality is, Shara, that anytime we engage in any sort of self-reflective work, um, it- we we stand at the threshold of uncovering something that's really hard. Um,
Hmm.
and frankly, more often than not, we will uh, because that's what's shaped us into who we are, the
Yeah.
good things and the hard things. So there's a healthy dose of courage that I have to find,
Right.
that I have to employ, that I have to put into use for me to ask the question of like, why do I do what I do? Um, that is not something that I've found to happen overnight, that level of courage.
Right.
um, we when we coach people, we always say, open that box at a rate that you can handle. You
Yeah.
know, but here's what we mean when we say grit. Um, Grit, as we would call it, it means a perseverance or a strength of character.
Hmm.
Um, I think sometimes grit is used to mean this sort of like, I'm just going to push through. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to, pull myself up and be really brave. And that's true. But we think about grit meaning when all we want to do is revert back to our old way of being. Grit is
Right.
saying, you know what, I'm not going to do that today, or I'm not going to do it at the level that I once did.
Yeah. I don't think grit's a bad thing. I
I don't
didn't
think
take
so
it
either.
negatively in the book at
Okay.
all. But I think I agree. It's something you have to have, especially if you're trying to
Yeah.
get over or get past,
Yeah.
a habit or an issue or whatever it is. I
Yeah.
laughed when y'all talked about wise guides and that because I kept saying wise guys
Yes.
every time.
Yes.
But who should be our wise guides in our life?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't say a great coach.
Right.
Um, you
Of
know,
course.
but for me, so here's how my work began, and this is Chris. Chris, my co-author, was a wise guide for me
Hmm.
as I started this work. He and I may have said this in the book, but he was a listening ear for me. So I
Hmm.
would call him in a particularly hard season in my life where I was leading a particularly hard group of people. And I would call Chris and I would say, Chris, you will never believe how bad this group is. And he would listen like a good friend. And then his last question to me was always, how are you contributing to the situation?
Yeah.
And I always remember thinking, like, Chris, shut up. Didn't you hear me? I just told you.
Right.
I'm not. I'm the only good thing here. Uh, and he just would not, he would not let me he would not let me off the hook of looking at my own contribution to keeping the situation what it was. So I
Yeah.
think a wise guide is anybody who can and is willing to look at a situation from a 30,000 foot view and ask the right question at the right time for the sake of our own
Right.
growth.
Yeah. Somebody that we trust that's, really genuinely wants to help. Talk
Yeah,
about your coaching program for a minute. I mean, I know we're talking about your book, but tell us about
yeah.
your coaching program.
Yeah, so we together, Chris and I, we run Brimstone Coaching Group, and I have to say, Brimstone. We get a lot of questions about this.
Yeah.
Brimstone is a species of butterfly, and
Right.
butterflies are the only living creatures that transform. And
Yeah.
and brimstone butterflies are the longest living of all the butterflies.
Wow.
So that's where that name comes from. But our coaching practice is really based on the philosophies of the book, where we say any any person, any leader, anything that we want to change, whether it's a
Hmm.
system or a family or a team, whatever it is, any anytime we want to think about change, we have to think about ourselves first.
Yeah.
Because I can't change a team of people I lead. I cannot change how they think. I cannot change how they respond. I cannot change how they react, but I can change how I show up when they do what they do. Right.
Yeah.
So we really believe that wholeheartedly that self-reflection is the key to transformation and to any sort of change we want in our lives. And we do that by looking at first formation with people and looking at sort of the ways we behave, the patterns
Right.
of behavior that we show up, and then we say once we see something, we can't unsee it. So
Yeah.
our coaching philosophy says if we can ask the right question at the right time, help people hold up a mirror to themselves, that
Hmm.
the answer, the solution going forward is already in them.
Right.
Uh, that is the key to getting that answer out.
That's awesome. Do y'all do just in-person coaching? Do you do online people all over the place, or how does that work?
Yeah, we do online, we do
Okay,
virtual
great.
from anywhere. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Well, that's
Yeah.
good. I'm going to have all your information available for people
Great.
whenever I post this, but I just wanted to ask you about that real quick. I will tell
Yeah.
you, I spent 6 months with a life coach and it changed my life. So
Oh, that's
I
great.
am all about that. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Another thing that you talk a lot about is encounter plus reflection equals transformation. Explain what encounter means, what you're referring to when you talk about that in the book.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, encounter plus reflection equals transformation is what we call our transformational equation. And an encounter, as we see it, is anything throughout our day that happens to us that either shocks us or surprises us or causes us to behave or respond in ways that are unexpected or that are unplanned or are that we don't understand.
Yeah.
And we would say that we probably have hundreds of those every day. Maybe it's the person in the grocery store who's impatient in the line behind us that triggers us. Maybe it's our kid doing something that triggers us and causes us to lash out a little bit. Maybe it's a
Yeah.
coworker that causes us to like hold in what we're thinking or to withhold our opinion in a meeting. It could be any number of things, but we think we have hundreds of them a day.
Yeah. And don't you think, I mean, it takes a lot of work to pay attention to each of those, don't you think? Like we just go through them and don't deal with them or, even think twice about them. But that takes a lot of work to, pay attention every single time something like that happens. I think it's so important though. You explained it well in the book. And it's true. We need to pay attention to, I want to pay attention to stuff like that. How am I reacting to each of these things?
Yeah.
Another thing you talked about was the power of your words and meaning making. Can you
Yeah.
explain what that means?
Yes. We think we're meaning-making machines,
Yeah.
as human adults. So maybe the best way to explain this is an example, and you read the book, you know this.
Mhm.
So if I text you and said, Shara, I'm gonna move next weekend, I would really love it if you'd help me because we're such good friends.
Right.
I really need your help. If you responded to me with just no, no punctuation, no explanation, I am going to make a meaning of what you just said.
Right.
But in reality, there are a million meanings, right?
Hmm.
The meaning I make is one, and
Right.
likely it's going to be, oh, Shara is really mad at me, or she doesn't like me.
Yep.
But it could be that you are out of town. It
Right.
could be that you have a long explanation and you're in a meeting and you could only respond with one word,
Yeah.
right? So when we say meaning making, we believe that we make meaning of those encounters in an instant. And
Yeah.
I think we would assert that often the meaning we make is incorrect. So then that drives the trajectory of our responses in a
Yeah.
way that's not accurate,
Yeah.
in a way that doesn't make sense, that's not appropriate.
Yeah. And we have to be careful in the people pleasers. It's like there's a balance there because then we could go the other end and want to feel like we have to explain everything to everybody, which we don't.
Yeah.
But we are responsible for ourselves. So we have to,
Yeah.
I'm not responsible for the way you respond. I
Yeah.
gotta pay attention to myself. Another thing you talk about is preferred promises.
Yeah.
What is true about a preferred promise?
Yeah, so a preferred promise is how we go forward.
Yeah.
So if you think about having protective promises that say, I'm never going to let myself feel embarrassed again, a
Hmm.
preferred promise is a counteractive promise that says, I used to do this thing to keep me from feeling this way, but now going forward, I promise that I'm going to show up this way, right?
Yeah.
One of my preferred promises is that I tell the truth all the time, which
Mhm.
I don't know if you know the Enneagram. Are you familiar with the Enneagram?
Yeah, I am.
I'm a nine Enneagram. I'm
Okay.
a people pleasing, people harmonizer to the core.
Yeah.
So telling the truth is not always hard for me, but telling
Right.
it in a way that is going to disharmonize Like I
Yeah.
always am looking to try to spin something to keep people in harmony.
Yeah.
So my preferred promise is I'm going to tell the truth and not, I'm not going to be responsible for how someone uh,
Right.
responds. I mean, I want to be kind and I want to
Yeah.
be gentle,
Yeah.
but I tell the truth for me is really strong, and it keeps
Yeah.
me going forward in alignment with who I want to be.
Sure. I love that. You talk about managers and firefighters. I think my husband is a manager and I think I'm a firefighter.
Yeah.
Give some examples of those. What does that mean?
Yeah, so I think we would actually say that all of us have managers and firefighters.
Yeah.
So this is language really based in the internal family systems theory,
Yeah.
which if you or the listener is unfamiliar, the movies Inside Out and Inside Out 2 are
Mhm.
fantastic,
Great movies.
fantastic movies, and they are like internal family systems theory 101.
Yeah.
Um, so what we would say is that every one of us has a manager and a firefighter. A manager is that part of us, that part inside of us that is really just trying to keep everything status quo.
Yeah.
Really trying to jump in and say, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going in the direction that we're heading and not rock the boat too much.
Sure.
Um, a firefighter is then like, hey, the manager didn't work like it was supposed to. So now the firefighter is going to jump in and really like, put the fire out and keep
Yeah.
keep keep the danger away. What we would say is that often those managers and those firefighter parts of us don't need to jump into action quite like they do.
Yeah.
That sometime earlier in life, those managers and firefighters were really, really important to us,
Yeah.
and that they really do want what's best for us. They really are trying to help. But this situation today, or whenever we find ourselves engaged in it right now, is
Hmm.
very different than years ago or decades ago. Uh, but the manager and the firefighter don't know that.
Yeah.
So we are huge. We didn't make up internal family systems theory. This is
Right.
there's many smarter people around this than us. But what we like to say is that there's a lot of power in being able to welcome those parts of us into a situation,
Yeah.
um, to recognize that they want what's good for us, they want what's best for us, and then literally to be able to say, "Hey, managing part of me, thank you for what you do."
Right.
And maybe just take a break. Like you can take a break today.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a gentle approach to these parts of us that maybe haven't been treated gently in a while.
Yeah. I love that. There just was so many good things in this book. Maybe I just needed it. Maybe I needed to read it at this time in my life, but it was just so good. And, anytime I'm wanting to pray for my husband or pray for somebody that, I wish they would change. I wish they would, what I
Yeah,
really need to be doing is focusing on me. And I feel like that's what this book is. As
yeah,
much as we want to change the people around us, we have a lot that we need to be focusing on in ourselves. Um,
yeah,
what are you hoping people get out of this book? What are you hoping they come away with?
yeah. I think twofold. I think we hope people learn the gentle tool of self-reflection.
Yeah.
Um, we really believe that self-compassionate, gentle self-reflection is the key to transformation.
Yeah.
Um, but not with any sort of shame. I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to reflect on ourselves and feel shame or feel guilt
Yeah.
or feel less than. And we just really hope that people can learn some tools to do that with some self-compassion.
Yeah.
I think the other piece is exactly what you just said. I mean, I, we really do believe that when Chris and I, or you, or whoever engages in this work well, that it really does begin to change the world.
Yeah.
What's true is that we can tell story after story of groups that we've led where we've done the hard work of saying, here's how we're going to engage. And slowly over time, the groups we lead start to transform with us.
Yeah.
Not because we force them, not because we make them, not because of anything other than there's a better way to go through life than just white knuckling and
Sure.
surviving.
Yeah. It's so good. It really is a great book. And I loved in the beginning, you gave several examples of different people. And I thought that was so important because you kind of talked about them throughout the book. I know names are changed and they may
Yeah.
not even be real, but it was good because you can, like, I saw myself in different people and the way they handled situations. I know everybody's going to be able to do that. Oh, well, I do that.
Yeah.
I act like
Yeah.
that. So that was
Yeah.
so good. Is there anything I haven't asked you about the book that you want to tell me, or anything that's going on new or upcoming that you want to tell me about?
No, I mean, I think I would just say, like, we love this work, right? I mean, I think
Yes.
that the book really does capture just our heart for the work.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, all those stories, they are real.
Or yeah, I thought they
The
were, and I thought you
Yep,
said that you had changed the names, but
we did, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think what we, with those stories is I think we really hope to capture people to realize that this is a human experience,
right.
not a broken human experience, not an outlier experience, but that each of us have these experiences that keep us from wholeness,
Yeah.
and that everybody can find themselves in one of these stories.
Yeah.
Um, we get questions a lot when we do one-on-one coaching, usually once per client meeting. Well, once one client in their course of meeting with us, they will always ask, "Do other people struggle with this?" Yes,
Oh,
yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
This is a human condition,
Sure.
and that really is the hope of including those stories at the beginning.
Yeah. I will recommend this book to everybody, honestly, because it's like I said, it wasn't what I was expecting. Leadership books are great. They're great.
Yeah.
But this was very helpful. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you for sending it to me and for letting me read and for being a guest. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your kind words.
Absolutely. I will be in touch soon when this is ready to go.
Okay.
All righty. Thank
Sounds
you,
great.
Kurt. Have a great
Thank
day.
you. You too.
Bye bye.